Hey everyone. Recently I've been fortunate enough to drive a lot of really cool vehicles, and this is yet another one. It is a 2020 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. There are actually two really interesting, unique things about this one in particular. First, it's got the EcoDiesel engine, which is new for 2020, and it also has the one-touch Sky, can you see it? Power retractable pseudo hardtop soft top. Since the JL Wrangler was introduced in 2018, I've covered this vehicle pretty extensively. I've also covered the Gladiator pretty extensively. So rather than rehash a lot of old information on this thing, I thought we'd focus on those two interesting elements, the diesel engine and the power retractable top. First of all though, it's pretty cold out today, so let's put the doors back on this thing. I think I can do it in under 20 minutes. Oh, just over 10 minutes. Nice. So one more thing I've got to put back together are these windows here. They're pretty light, pretty easy. I've got them in a Jeep bag in my garage. Let's see. Aha, 2.5 minutes. Okay, now, as for the two things I said we would talk about in this video, let's start with the power top. So you can see I've got it in the open position right now. It opens about 2/3 of the way back, so it does still hang over the cargo area. There's a canvas top with obviously some metal structural components. It runs on these rails here. Opens in 18 seconds, and it's really nice in certain situations. I think for your average Jeep owner, it's probably not the #1 choice, but for people who don't have a lot of space to store a big removable hardtop, it's really nice. For people who don't plan to use the top that often, it's really nice because with the push of a button you can have an open top experience, and with the push of a button again you can have a fully enclosed cabin. People describe a scenario in which they leave for work in the morning, it's cloudy, they're halfway through their commute, sun comes out, they open the roof, they're sitting at a red light, the sun's beating down on them, or they're sitting in traffic, they close the roof, run to the store, open the roof, and then close it when you get there, come back out to your car, open it again, close it when you get home and you park the vehicle for the night. You get the idea. Another area in which I think this top is probably really nice is for Jeep rental companies. Places like Moab and South Beach in Miami, I know all over the country, in fun vacation spots you can rent Jeeps. And for a situation like that where someone who's renting the vehicle doesn't necessarily have a way to take the top off, let alone store it, the power top is really nice there because you can, again, have an open top experience without really having to put in much effort at all. So I'm going to turn this thing on. And now I can show you how the top works. So, like I said, one touch, and they mean one touch. So you press that button and the top starts to close. Folds up in an accordion style when it's open. And there you go. You don't have to close any levers or anything. Everything is automated. And then when you're done, actually, this diesel is really loud. And then when the top is in its closed position, it's fully flat. You can feel the cross beams all through there. Pretty simple. Like I showed, these rear cargo windows, whatever you want to call them, are removable. It's super easy to do. You've got little tabs. So you can see this one that one. You just have to open the door and then undo these two tabs. If you're familiar with the hardtop Wrangler with the Freedom tops, this is the same mechanism that's used to hold those in place. I don't want to undo both of them, but we'll undo one here. So it's just these little T-shaped tabs. You undo them, and then you can pop the top out. Here it just sits in a rail, so nothing to undo down here. Pretty simple. Two little levers, and you've got your windows off. The rear window is not removable. It's kind of unique, I guess. So you have to open the swing out tailgate, and then this, it's not even latched in place. It just folds down, and then when the tailgate's closed, the tailgate sits over the weather stripping there and holds the window in place. So this is going to stay in place. You can see you've got a wiper and you've got a spray nozzle. And yeah, it's a lot like a everyday SUV. So the Jeep does look kind of unique when the doors are off and when the side windows are out with this power top. It does give it kind of a cool look. It's probably not for everybody. The top is removable. Technically, it uses the same Wrangler as its base that you'd get with a regular hardtop or soft top. But the issue is apparently, well, first of all, it's heavy and it's a little bit cumbersome to remove because it's all one piece from here to here. But the reason Jeep doesn't recommend removing it is that apparently it's really difficult to get the rails aligned properly when you put it back on. There's a scenario in which you put it back on, you screw everything in, and these two rails aren't perfectly parallel, and therefore your fabric top won't close like it's supposed to. So, and then the other thing I read, when you take the top off, you will be missing some trim pieces along the top of the windshield that would be there if you had the hard top or the soft top. It's definitely a trade-off. Another thing worth mentioning, this top costs $4,000, so it's not something that you want to buy on accident. I think you should only get a Jeep with this top if you really want it and if you have a use for it in mind before purchasing. I wanted to fold the windshield down on this one, but found out that again with this power top you can't really do that because there's all this stuff. Go ahead and open it again. There's all this trim at the top of the windshield that gets in the way of you accessing the bolts and actually folding the windshield down. And for part three of this review, let's talk about the diesel engine. So the EcoDiesel, that is a 3-liter 6-cylinder turbo diesel, is new to the Wrangler for 2020. It's the same diesel engine that's been offered in the Ram 1500 and in the Grand Cherokee for a number of years now. In the Wrangler, it makes 260 horsepower, but 442 pounds-feet of torque. Pretty impressive. So the reason to buy any diesel engine is generally for driving experience and fuel economy. And you'll notice my window sticker here does not have fuel economy ratings on it, but I've got them on fueleconomy.gov here. So the 2020 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited with the diesel engine, and that comes standard with an 8-speed automatic transmission, is rated by the EPA at 22 mpg city, 29 mpg highway, and 25 mpg combined. Compare that to other Wrangler Unlimited models with that 8-speed automatic transmission. They are rated at 21 city, 22 highway, and 21 combined for the 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo. And with the 3.6-liter Pentastar gas V6, the Wrangler Unlimited returns 19, 22, and 20. So after a week with this thing, after putting about 100 miles on it, I have averaged just under 20 miles per gallon combined. So that 25 mpg figure is probably under super ideal driving conditions, not the driving conditions that we're likely to encounter day to day. So keep that in mind. Additionally, it's worth noting that the diesel engine is pretty expensive. It comes standard with an automatic transmission. The automatic is technically a $2,000 option, but in my mind, if you're going to get the automatic, you're going to get the automatic, so you're already planning on paying for that. But to opt for the diesel over the regular V6 engine, you're going to pay a $4,000 premium, and that's pretty significant. Assuming that your fuel savings are more in line with what I've seen, rather than what the EPA says, it's going to take a while to pay off that premium long enough that it probably shouldn't be your main motivator for opting for the diesel engine. To go with the diesel on this vehicle, I think you really have to like the way it sounds and the way it drives. And on that note, why don't we start it up and take it for a little ride? So this thing sounds really aggressive when you start it up. I'm gonna open the door so that you can hear it and get the full experience. I got to test out a Ram Rebel with the EcoDiesel, and I remember it being a lot quieter than this. I'm not sure if that's something that FCA does on purpose to make this vehicle feel a little more aggressive and exciting, but either way, it sounds pretty loud. It gets even louder when you put it into drive. Won't be doing any off-roading today. I've done plenty of off-roading in the Wrangler. It's extremely capable, it sets the bar very high. In terms of low speed, technical off-roading, you're not gonna find a better vehicle than the Jeep Wrangler. It has solid axles front and rear. This is a Rubicon model, so it's got locking front and rear differentials, a disconnecting front sway bar, rock rails, taller fenders, 33-inch BF Goodrich all-terrain KO2 tires. It's got a special low crawl ratio. It is one of, if not the most capable off-road vehicle that you can buy new in the United States today. So I'm sure you can hear that. This thing feels very truck-like, and to anyone who's coming from a pickup, especially a heavy-duty pickup, you're gonna find a lot to like about just the general audible experience that you get with this engine. It's definitely not slow. Diesel engines are high on torque. This one makes 442 pounds-feet, but only 260 horsepower. So you get that really grunty low-end feeling. I wouldn't call it quick, but it does feel strong. This is a competent diesel engine. It's not like the underpowered diesel that you get in the Chevy Colorado. That engine is pretty weak. Makes only, I think, 180 horsepower, makes about 350 pounds-feet of torque. But this is a much better diesel engine. It's easier to live with day to day. It's definitely not slow. Driven the Colorado diesel, that vehicle feels extremely slow. This one, it's fine for driving on the highway. It's fine for driving around town. Like I said, it's kind of loud, but I think that's part of the draw for a lot of people shopping for a diesel engine in a lighter duty vehicle like this one. Coming up on some manhole covers, speed bumps. So another thing you get with the Wrangler Rubicon is a Fox suspension, so that's going to be better tuned for high-speed off-road driving and for low-speed off-road driving. Around town, I've noticed that it's really good at absorbing imperfections in the road, and I think that's one of the underrated things about this new class of off-road vehicle that's so popular today. They drive a lot nicer on-road too. I definitely feel like the experience of the Wrangler is elevated by the diesel engine. I was parking this thing in my garage this week, and you start it up in there and all that diesel rattle gets amplified. It sounds really loud. I know I've said that before, but there's no way around it. It sounds like a heavy-duty truck. And on that note, I think that probably is the big selling point of this diesel engine. It's just the experience. As of today, this is the most exciting powertrain that you can get with the Wrangler, and yeah, it sounds cool. Performance is fine, but I don't think there's a real logical reason to get the Wrangler with the diesel engine. I think it's more an emotional purchase. Probably is a little bit better at towing. I don't think its tow rating is any better than the 3.6 liter gas V6 Wrangler, but its behavior, its manners on the road, its low end torque, those are all selling points of the diesel, sure. But I don't think that there's a mathematical case for buying the diesel over the gas Wrangler, and that mainly has to do with the $4,000 premium you pay for the diesel engine. So altogether, like I think I mentioned, this Wrangler stickers for $64,380. It is fully loaded, so it's an unlimited model. It's got that $4,000 power top. It's got the $4,000 diesel engine. It's got all the available active safety tech. It's got the LED lights. It's a Rubicon model. It's got leather seats. It's got everything. This is, I think, probably the most expensive Jeep Wrangler ever. I know people are willing to pay a premium for these things. Jeep has a cult-like following, and by charging $64,000 for this one, they are wringing every last penny out of their buyers, but people will pay the price for these things. I do question a little bit the long-term reliability. Interior, though, feels really nice. In terms of initial quality, I give it a thumbs up. And yeah, anytime you buy a Jeep Wrangler, you are sacrificing day-to-day livability. This isn't a vehicle that I'd be super excited to take on a long road trip, but the new Wrangler is a nice design. It's hard to speak to reliability, like I said. If you want a fun, capable, configurable off-roader, you really can't beat the Wrangler. Thanks for watching.